G'day, Jimmy. Welcome to today's News Blast.
Hey, B.
A big thank you to Ben and Lisa out at Universal Flooring Extra for their kind
Down there in yellow.
sponsorship
Yep.
for this month. Let's start.
Yes.
Women's World Cup.
It's a very disappointing
dream is over.
way to start the News Blast this morning after Norway ran out winners in penalty shootouts after the match finished 1-1 after extra time. The Matildas only getting one penalty, with Norway securing all four, I believe.
Yeah, plenty of controversy with VAR over the weekend.
Yep.
Even this morning's results, we'll go through those. And again, VAR involved. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the red card. I know the rules have changed where if it was inside the box, you would have only got a yellow and they would have got a penalty. But
well, even the tug on the shirt didn't even seem enough to take up for a player to fall on the ground. So to make a yellow, having a decision turned away when she was taken out in the box as well should have been a penalty. But
yeah, it was a few dodgy decisions during the match, but it's over, and we hope that everyone gets on board the Get Onside hashtag campaign. So
yep, with the Women's World Cup in 2023
for Australia to host the Women's World Cup. So get on that website if you haven't already visited, and put your name down and Get Onside. So if you want to find that address, just go hashtag Get Onside and give it a search, but I think it's getonside.com.au. So that's the Australian Women's World Cup, which I think is announced a couple of days before the final.
Okay, yeah,
whether or not we've got it or not.
Yeah, right.
So fingers crossed for that.
Okay.
Anyway, head coach Ante Milicic told reporters after the game, "I'm proud of the girls. They never gave up. They kept on fighting. They really did things the hard way in the end. We couldn't climb the final hurdle. Both teams had their chances, and once we lost a player, it became difficult. I think it was a pretty even game, but I'm disappointed with the result." Anyway, Jimmy, other results to finish up the round of 16, obviously the same day in the morning before the Matildas game. Germany defeated Nigeria, knocked them out of the competition 3-0.
Yep. England, they overcame a very tough Cameroon side 3-0 this morning, and there was some controversy with VAR being onside, both for Cameroon and England with some goals.
One incident where Cameroon was sort of refusing to continue on with play because the referee didn't go and check the screen herself. And
actually on the big screen it showed that she was offside.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Anyway.
And France, they overcame Brazil 2-1 with a goal in the 105th minute.
Yes, in extra time. Again, more decisions and, VAR playing a big part in all of those games this morning. So interesting stuff. Obviously, the quarterfinals, Norway are up against England. France up against either Spain or USA. Italy or China taking on Netherlands or Japan. And Germany taking on the winner of Sweden and Canada.
So the quarterfinals, they'll be played on Friday morning and then over the weekend. So some very tasty and interesting games there to come. All
right, over to national news. Reported by Fox Sports, Matildas and Chicago Red Stars striker Sam Kerr appears to have been offered a 2-year contract worth nearly $1 million to join Chelsea in England's FA Women's Super League. David Gallup actually spoke to the Daily Telegraph saying, "We will definitely sit down with her at the after the World Cup and discuss where she sees herself next. Her spot at Perth Glory and in the W League is a tremendous thing for the club, the competition and the sport." So I guess that resonates and says that the FFA are willing to, compete with the contract offer, trying to keep Sam in the W League. Obviously, any players that come here from overseas, we still have some players coming from Europe. We do have players coming from the US. They're looking to continue the Australian season, which fits in perfectly with the US season. But Jimmy, you can't underestimate how big Europe's getting with.
Well, we saw last season with Juventus, even Atletico Madrid, they pulled in some really big crowds. So not only, if the crowds come, then so will the money.
Well, the English competition is getting massive. I know I follow obviously West Ham, and the West Ham Women's Club is being run by Sullivan, who the son of the owner of the men's club. So and they've even had TV shows like showing his management of the women's club. So the women's football at West Ham is quite big, and we had some a decent season, but it's getting bigger as each year goes on, and to see the girls sort of play 8 or 12 games here as opposed to a 40-game season in Europe and potentially Champions League as well. These are all the carrots that have been dangled at the girls to go to Europe to play now.
All right, well, let's turn our attention to National Premier League's football at the moment. So the Wollongong Wolves, they ran out 2-0 winners over Sydney Olympic. Lachlan Scott with a tiny brace.
Is that the...
What do you mean?
Demeanour you read out the Wolves win? The Wolves, they're on top of the ladder. Right. Still, doing great guns. Yeah. Come on, mate, fire up. 2-0, Lockie Scott. Well done. A double to Lockie. What would you call it? A tidy brace, as you wrote it in the...
Yeah, I think it was a tidy brace. 50th minute, 81st minute.
And unfortunately, Apia won as well, and won convincingly. But they're still hovering in the background, 5 points behind the Wolves still. But things are looking good. A big task for the Wolves to travel up to
Mount
Druitt next week. They've been their bogey team this year. And Mount Druitt on a bit of a roll as well, and they're only 3 points out of the 5 now. So... this is probably one of the... We say it every week, but this is probably the game that will make a difference. They can put the bogey team to bed, get revenge on the FFA Cup loss, and Mount Druitt's had a couple of cup games in between as well, and they got their big round of 32 coming up. So their minds are on a couple of different things, but fingers crossed the Wolves continue this run, and only 6 games to go. We reckon they'd only need to win 4 of them.
Okay.
Is that better?
That is better.
Are you going to liven up and do this one, or you want me to do this one too?
Righto,
the Illawarra Stingrays, yo beauty, travelled up to Sydney Olympic, and they second place Sydney Olympic versus 4th place Illawarra Stingrays. And what a result, Jimmy.
Yeah, so actually, because of this result, Sydney Olympic, they dropped down into 3rd. Stingrays now only 1 point away from Sydney Olympic, and they've put a bit of a buffer between the Macarthur Rams and Blacktown Spartans.
Nice.
So there's a 3-point gap there as well.
Well done, Stingers. 4-0 away win. Massive win. 2 goals to Hannah Beard, a goal to Kayla Austin, and Michelle Carney helped seal the 3 points. And that's a massive statement now going into the next few weeks.
Michelle Carney, she was instrumental in setting up the goal for Kayla Austin as well. So she's finding some
big game away this week to Bankstown. The Lions will be a tough ask. I've got a good friend over there who's playing first grade. Scored a couple of goals the other week.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to Jess. Hi, Jess.
Well, I believe
you won't win this week.
I believe Bankstown are...
Illawarra Stingrays will.
I believe Bankstown are sitting in 2nd spot as well. So the Stingers, they might be able to rein in Bankstown, who are 4 points ahead of them at the moment.
This is an important game this week for the Stingrays. Following Bankstown, now I think they've got a run of 4 home games in a row at JJ Kelly before the final game up there at Sydney Uni. So fingers crossed, Stingrays, keep up the good work. Well done. 4-0 away. Great effort.
And we also speak to Chippers, who's coming in the studio this afternoon for the podcast. Cool. So be sure to tune into that one.
All right, Illawarra Premier League, Jimmy, Cringilla Lions' run is over. They dropped the 3 points to Coniston 1-0 on the weekend. Wollongong United, a 0-0 with Corrimal Rangers. Very surprising not to see 2 attacking teams at least score 1 goal there. Went Sharks, they went down to 10 men and got beat 2-1 by Port at their home ground, which were a bit of a fortress over the past few games. So they stopped their run that they were on a bit of a run. Tarrawanna jumped the Sharks into 4th spot after a 5-0 win over Fernhill, who puts Fernhill into relegation troubles. They're in the bottom of the ladder.
The Albion Park White Eagles, they were defeated 3-0 against Wollongong Olympic out there at Terry Reserve. South Coast United and Bulli played out a very interesting 2-2 draw up there at E. McLennan on Saturday night. Yeah,
we're going to a bit more in-depth about the Illawarra Premier League results and also the district ones that we're going to talk about now in our podcast, Keep It On The Floor. That's the segment of Ben Wunsch and the Universal Flooring Extra guys are doing great support. So Ben's got his own little segment that he comes on and joins us with. And if you haven't listened to Keep It On The Floor, make sure you have a listen today because it's a ripper.
Yep.
All right, District League.
Your
mob, 5-0. What happened, Jimmy?
Oak Flats out there at Keith Bond Oval. Out there at King Mickey Park, Warilla Wanderers, they ran, or it was 1-1 with Unanderra Hearts.
That's a good point for Warilla Wanderers. WFC 0, Belambia Rosellas 4. that keeps Bellambi undefeated on the top of the ladder.
4
doing
points
well.
clear, I believe.
Yeah. Helensburgh 6, Picton Rangers 2, Thrill Thunder 3, Shellcove 0, and the last game was Bally Rangers 3 and Kiama Warriors 3. So a 3-all draw. Not too much difference in there.
That would have been a good game, actually, to watch for a neutral,
Yeah.
All right, women's first division now. We're unsure of the score between Fernhill and Woonona FC, so if you know the score, pop it in the comments below. Thirroul FC were defeated 3-1 to the Balgownie Rangers up there at Thomas Gibson Park, and of course the Kiama Warriors and University's fixture has been deferred, which will be played at a later date.
All right, Jimmy, so with the State Cup results, we'll just maybe put them in tomorrow's show, see if we've got any updates.
Yeah, because I know the game with University doesn't have a score yet, so yeah, we'll pop it in tomorrow's News Blast.
All right, plenty of action over the weekend with the Copa America and the African Cup of Nations. Let's start with the Copa America, where Chile in Group C have defeated Ecuador 2-1. In Group B, Colombia 1, defeated Paraguay 0, and Argentina 2-0 win over Qatar.
Right, and Group A saw Venezuela beat Bolivia 3-1, whilst Brazil ran out 5-0 winners over Peru. The final matches in the group stages finishes up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Chile taking on Uruguay and Ecuador taking on Japan. Now, if Japan win that match against Ecuador, they will go to 4 points in the group, which will see them move through to the next round, which is interesting. African Cup of Nations AB?
Yes.
Started on Saturday?
It did.
All right, well, in Group A, Egypt ran out 1-0 winners over Zimbabwe, and Uganda ran out 2-0 winners over DR Congo. I know Aston Villa's El Amadi, he captained Egypt to a nice win.
Yeah, Mohamed Salah played in that game as well.
Yeah.
There's a few players in there that play Premier League.
Right.
Good, decent team.
Yeah, right.
Group B.
Group B, Nigeria ran out 1-0 winners over Burundi, and a 2-all draw between Madagascar and Guinea.
Oh, Jimmy. Group C, Senegal 2 defeated Tanzania 0, and Algeria 2 defeated Kenya 0. A strong Algerian team too. Obviously, Riyad Mahrez.
Yep.
Sofiane Feghouli used to play for West Ham. Is in that team as well. There's a couple of decent players in there, so that's a good result for them.
Yep.
And Group D, Morocco 1, Namibia 0, and the Ivory Coast versus South Africa is tonight at 12:30 a.m. kickoff.
That's a tough group for Morocco and Namibia too. Yeah.
All right, that's the end of today's News Blast.
Yep.
Thanks for joining
That's
us,
all we've
and like I said, give us some comments in the comments and below if you know any of those scores that we're missing, or one score that we're missing, and give us any other advice. Maybe tell us what to do and not what to do, or just tell us to shut up. Just put something down there. Subscribe too.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.
New flooring today, guys?
Do you do flooring?
Well, you are in Universal Flooring Extra Yalla, and we create a fabulous flooring experience.
I'm a tumbleweed. Pretty good.
Keep it on the floor, mate.
Make sure you keep it on the floor.
Keep it out of the shop.
Round 15.
Are those guys gone yet?
What guys?
This has been a Podular Media production.